Thank you. 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 Please, those blowing the vuvuzelas, if you can just keep it quiet a bit. Um, my children, you don't have to be sorry. They didn't deceive you alone. They deceived the whole of Ghana. So it's not you alone. So don't worry, you know. They packaged themselves nicely, made all kinds of promises, and today all those promises are broken. They've come with something they call a performance tracker, and they are retracting some of the things. They say 67 were put in error, and the performance tracker has things that district assemblies should be doing. Toilet. We built a toilet here. We built a toilet there. You know, when we published our green book was evidence-based. And every single thing you see in the green book exists, and we have done it here in Ghana. They can go and take the green book. I challenge the media, go and take the green book and show me one project in the green book that does not exist. We didn't have to retract anything. They found it was solid, so they came and said that, oh, we went to Dubai and took pictures. University of Ghana Medical Center, they say it's a hospital in Dubai. We went and took the pictures and came and put it in the green book. Today, when they are sick, they go to the University of Ghana Medical Center for treatment. But let's put that aside. Let me begin by thanking my fathers and mothers, our clergymen, the local council of churches, our imams and ulama, and also our fathers, the traditional leaders. This session was meant for them and to listen to their issues. This is the last stop of our Building Ghana tour. And they say, he who laughs last, laughs best. So the Northeast region has laughed last, and they are laughing the best. Our fathers, the clergymen, the chiefs, the imams are laughing last. This is the last event, and we finish the regional tours. What we'll be left with is the meeting with the professional groups, which I have started to do. I've met GUTA, I've met Association of Ghana Industries. From next week, I'm meeting the educational unions, and then we're going to meet all the other groups before we finally wrap up. And then we expect that the manifesto will come out in July. And once we launch it, everybody would have a share of something in that manifesto. That's why we always call it the People's Manifesto. Because we write that manifesto by consulting with the people. We don't let people sit in a room and just write anything. So this is the last stop, and I'm very happy to be able to address the issues that you raised. Young people, who we call the youth, and let's say that is anybody from a child to about 35 to 40 years. Anyone who votes for the MPP, you are voting for a party that has mortgaged your future. This is the party that has mortgaged the future of the youth more than any other government in the history of Ghana. Every government leaves unfinished business and debts for the next government. And that has continued from Nkrumah's time right up to Rawlings, to Kufuor, to Mills, to me. And by the time I was leaving office, the total debt from independence, Kwame Nkrumah's time, was 120 billion cedis. In the short space of 7.5 years, that debt has increased to 610 billion cedis in 7 years. In 7.5 years. And I was telling them in Bokpurugu that in 2016, if we divided the debt, if we all decided that we're going to pack our bags and leave Ghana, and so let's share the debt, everybody should pay his, and then we will go. If we divided the debt, all of us would have paid 4,000 cedis. Today, If we say we're going to divide the debt, all of us are giving Ghana up, we'll all pay our debts and then we'll go. And so we're going to share the debt for everybody to pay. Every one of you here owes 20,000 cedis. That is what this government has done to Ghana. And the point even is, the Eurobond alone, in 6 years, the president's cousin, the finance minister, borrowed $13.5 billion. And if we had seen highways, we had seen bridges, we had seen regional hospitals, we had seen universities, schools, water, electricity, we'll say that that money was well spent. But after 13.5 billion cedis, just show me in the Northeast here what transformation has happened in the Northeast here over the last 7.5 years. And so you just can't understand. And that's why I'm saying they've mortgaged your future, because that money is not them who are going to pay it. People are celebrating their 80th birthday, and Ghana is owing 650 billion. You think they are going to pay 650 billion? Who is going to pay it? You those sitting here, you these young people. That debt here they have left is a debt for you to come and pay. And I mean, you have a government that was visionary. We were thinking about the future. And so we have something we call a sinking fund. A sinking fund is like the sink in your bathroom. And so it has a hole. So when you open the water, the sink does not get full because the sinking hole is draining the water. So we set up what we call a sinking fund. And what we did was, every year we put some of our revenue in the sinking fund, so that when debts are coming, we take money out of the sinking fund and settle those debts. So it just works the same way as a sink, so that the water won't overflow and flood your bathroom. If that hole is open, anytime a debt is coming, you get some water to pay the debt. This government came, we had left money in the sinking fund, because we knew that the debt that Kufuor's government took, the first Eurobond, $750 million, we knew it was going to become due in October 2017. And so we put money in the sinking fund and said, whichever government will be there in 2017 should be able to get money to pay the debt so that it will not affect the economy. I knew that we could lose the election. I was hopeful that we would win, but we lost. And when we lost and that debt became due, Oforiatta went to the sinking fund, took that money, and paid the Kufuor debt. That was forward thinking. I too could have used the money, because it was an election year. I could have used the money to try and win the election. But we were thinking forward. We went and took Eurobond. And we said, no, we're going to set up the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund. And so we need to give them seed money, so that we can use that as our sovereign wealth fund, and we can use that and go and borrow money to come and do infrastructure in Ghana. And so we put $270 million aside in the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund. And that is the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund. Part of the money from the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund was used to build Terminal 3 at Kotoka Airport. I too could have said, 270 million is an election year, I want to win, I will spend the 270 million, share it to people so that I'll win the election. We established a stabilization fund. I put money in the stabilization fund. And the stabilization fund is meant for emergency. If there's any emergency, government can go into the stabilization fund and take money and resolve the emergency. You remember when COVID happened? Government of Ghana didn't have one single cedi to start responding to COVID. It was Parliament that told them, oh, go and look in the stabilization fund. John Mahama left money in the stabilization fund. Go and take that money and use it for our COVID response. So Parliament approved it, and they went and took the money from the stabilization fund and started to respond to COVID. Even that money, they didn't use it properly. They gave sole source contracts to friends and relatives. They gave Momo to their party executives and everybody. And so there's a difference between a visionary government, that is a government that is looking forward into the future, and a government that is thinking only about their stomachs today. But that's not all. We established the Energy Sector Levy Act. And that Energy Sector Levy Act was meant to pay legacy energy sector debt and also pay current debt. And so every liter of petrol you buy, you pay ESLA. Kwekwa Nancy government. They decided. And that fund, we did it at the end of 2016. I didn't get any money from the ESLA. All came into their laps. More than 3 billion cedis a year. Kwekwa Nancy government, wiser than everybody. They decided that this money is coming, but it's coming year by year. But we want the money at once, boom. And so we're going to create a company called ESLA SPV. And then we're going to use ESLA SPV to borrow money in advance. And we'll use the ESLA as collateral. So today, ESLA has been collateralized for the next 15 years. And that is why when the independent power producers are putting off the lights, we can't pay for gas, is because the inflows that were to come from ESLA to pay for those things, they have taken that money and they have spent it. So that debt is waiting for who? For you, this youth, to pay. Now, aside from that, we have, recently I was reading the media, and he said that Cocoa Board is asking those that gave them money to buy cocoa, that they should give them a leverage to push 250,000 tons of cocoa delivery to next year. What does it mean? That they are going to push it across the 7th January 2025 line and put the responsibility for delivering 250,000 tons of cocoa on John Mahama's head. I mean, that is what this government is about. There's an IPP debt. They are not dealing with it. When West African Gas Pipeline closed this thing, they'll go and find $10 million, give to them. When Sunon and Sogli go on strike, they'll go and find $50 million, give to them. So they are firefighting the thing, and the debt is $1.5 billion. And all they are waiting to do is to push it across 7th January 2025 and make it the next government's headache. That is what this government has done. And they don't want to be held accountable. But I can assure them that the people of Ghana will hold them accountable for what they've done. We're not going to witch hunt anybody, but if you have messed up the life of the people of Ghana and you have misappropriated their monies, you must account for it. And so the institutions, the investigative institutions, the anti-corruption institutions are going to work. If you have crossed the line and you are part of the problem and the hardship that has been inflicted on Ghanaians over the last 7 years, you must account for it. And I've said that we're not going to pursue post-regime accountability alone. We're going to pursue regime accountability. It means we are not only going to investigate our predecessors, but even in our government, if you also fall foul of the law, you will be held to account. And so, the youth of this country, you must recognize the harm that has been inflicted on you. I mean, many of us are senior citizens now. How many years do we have to live? And yet, look at the kind of mortgage of your future that has been done. Today, I just saw news that the negotiations with the international bondholders has collapsed. And that is very bad news for Ghana. Because are we going to reopen the negotiations And IMF say the agreement or what they were negotiating is not even enough to be able to alleviate Ghana's debt. That whatever was being negotiated is not enough to extricate us from the debt trap. And so it shows how serious whatever has happened is going to affect this country into the future. My brother Haruna talked about LGBTQ. The parliament passed the bill, and the Constitution says that after Parliament has passed the bill, it shall be presented to the President for him to assent. That means to sign. And so it is a constitutional function. And my understanding of the law, I'm not a lawyer, but constitutional lawyers will tell you that nobody can file an interlocutory injunction to stop the President or Parliament from carrying out its constitutional function. And so the fact that somebody has filed an injunction does not stop the President from carrying out his duty. If even the President says he won't sign, he has two options. One, he has to send the bill back to Parliament and tell Parliament that I do not agree with this and this and this and that in the bill, and therefore I'm unable to sign. And so Parliament has to take the bill back and look at it again. That is one option. The second option is that the President can refer the bill to the Council of State and say that, look, I've received this bill from Parliament. I want you to take a look at it and advise me about this bill. And so Council of State will look at it, and then they will write their advice to the President. And then the President will take that advice, and based on that, either sign it, or if Council of State raises legitimate issues, the President will send it back to Parliament with the issues that were raised by the Council of State. That is what the Constitution says. But the Constitution also says that Parliament shall present the bill to the President. It is a constitutional action. And the fact that somebody has filed an interlocutory motion in the Supreme Court does not stop the Parliament from presenting the motion. If that were the case, then the work of the state will never go on, because there are many bills that are sent to the President for assent. And so if on every bill or any bill somebody feels strongly about it and goes and files a motion in court, then it means that the constitutional obligation would stop. And the constitution drafters did not intend that. And so I believe the President is wrong. If he has some things against the bill, he should write back to Parliament, send the bill back to Parliament, and say what he doesn't agree with. If he doesn't want to do that, then he should refer it to the Council of State and ask them to advise him what he should do. And based on what they advise, we can move forward. But to say that, don't even bring the bill to my office, don't come and present it to me, I don't believe that the President has any such powers. And so that is the issue with the LGBTQ bill. Reverend Bani talked about non-discrimination. And I talked about this in Nigeria 2 days ago when I went to receive an award. I said one of the things that... Thank you. I said one of the things that does not make us go forward is that when a government comes, you want to destroy the businesses of all the people who were given contracts by the other government. Before you now start giving your own people contracts, when they also build to a certain extent, another government will come and say, these are not our people, and then they try to destroy their businesses. Where are we going to go? And so for me, the point I make is, it is a business. Is it a Ghanaian business? Yes. Does it employ Ghanaians? Yes. Is it helping the Ghanaian economy? Yes. That's it. It doesn't matter the color of who the person is. As far as they are Ghanaians, they are entitled to work, they are entitled to have a business and to be able to make money, employ people, and contribute to our economic progress. And so please, I know the NDC will come into office. And when I come into office, I'm not going to go after anybody's business. If you are doing legitimate business, You are paying your taxes. You are doing what is right. I'm not going to come and destroy your business. Because if I destroy your business, you throw your workers out. And if you throw your workers out, some of them are MPP, some of them are NDC. And they'll lose their jobs, and their families will suffer. One of the biggest mistakes this government did was closing those banks. Today, more than 10,000 bankers have been thrown onto the unemployment market. Some of them have become bakers. Some of them are Uber drivers. Some of them have gone to farm. And these are professional bankers. Can you imagine the waste of human resources that has happened? And something that you could have solved with 9 billion, you went and created a debt of 25 billion cedis. And so this has been a very reckless government. Reverend Bani talked about Peace Council and Council of State. Council of State is a creature of the Constitution. It's created by the Constitution. And it has its specific rules, advisory to the President. The Peace Council has a law, an act, that establishes the Peace Council. We set up the Peace Council under advice from the United Nations. The United Nations was assisting countries to establish what they call a peace architecture. And out of our consultation with the United Nations, the idea of setting up a Peace Council came into being. I think that the Peace Council has been a bit vilified in terms of, what they are supposed to do. As soon as something happens, everybody says, where's the Peace Council? As soon as something happens, where's the Peace Council? Unfortunately, they are not the fire service. They are for peace building. They are not for firefighting. And so I do believe that we should give them a chance, but I think that they also must be more proactive. They've done some good things. For instance, NDC going back to IPAC has been because of the backroom diplomacy that the Peace Council held between NDC and the Electoral Commission over several years. They came to my office at least 3 times on this matter. And eventually, NDC has gone back to the Inter-Party Advisory Committee. When I was president, we worked with them on the Boko crisis. And they did a very good job helping us to resolve the Boko crisis and bringing peace to Boko. So they've scored some victories, but unfortunately, they are not given the credit for the victories they've scored. It is only when something is happening and then the Peace Council is being looked for. So I think we can make progress with the Peace Council if we give them a chance. Reverend Bani said we should use income from our mineral resources for development, for industry and infrastructure. I agree with him. The minerals will finish. And when they finish, we must have something that we have gained from the minerals that we extracted. And so in our manifesto, when it comes, you look at the extractive sector. We're talking at how we can use the monies that we make from oil and gas, the monies that we make from gold and lithium and all that, to be able to build our infrastructure and build industry in Ghana, so that when all those minerals are gone, we'll have something that our children and our children's children can inherit from us. Reverend said I should put my economic team together. I can assure you they are together already. I have a team that is working day and night, looking beyond the election. They are coming out with the economic policies that we must implement. The day after we leave Independence Square, we must start implementing those economic policies. And then his last point was on Galamsey. This president said that if he does not succeed in the Galamsey fight, he's putting his presidency on the line. I want to remind him of that statement he made. And if he was going to follow that statement, then he should have resigned long ago. Because Galamsey is worse than when he inherited office. And the problem with dealing with Galamsey under this government is that it's their own people doing it. Their district chief executives, their MPs, their ministers are involved in Galamsey. And so if you yourself are doing Galamsey, can you eradicate it? You can't. And so let them pack and go. And let the NDC come. We shall first deal with galamsey that pollutes our river bodies. And then we shall also prevent anybody from mining gold in forest reserves. If there's gold under the forest reserve, let it remain there. The trees are more important to us than the gold that you extract from under there. There are many other places where you can take concessions and mine responsibly. And so we're going to teach people how to do that. With the small-scale mining sector, we're going to map up all the districts that have gold mining. And we know the districts where gold is mined. And in each of those districts, we're going to set up the structures to monitor the mining within their district. And if we come and anybody is doing anything illegal there, we will hold the district chief executive and the mining authorities responsible for the illegal mining. Unless you hold somebody responsible, they will not do their work. And so we'll open Minerals Commission in every mining district. We will employ the young graduates who are coming from the Takwa School of Mines, and we'll send them to all the districts and attach them to all those who have small-scale mining concessions, and they'll teach them how to do the mining responsibly. And if you are mining responsibly, we won't come and harass you. We will not send soldiers to come and worry you. But if you are doing the wrong thing, we will hold you accountable. Centralizing the regional coordinating councils. I hear that there are areas where they use dispersed models. For instance, in South Africa, the judiciary is in Bloemfontein, the parliament is in Cape Town, and the executive is in Pretoria. And so I'm sure whoever is doing this is trying to use that model where he disperses the government machinery. But when you do that, you must have a strong digital connection between them, so that even though they are not in the same location, they have video conferencing, so the regional minister, the regional coordinating director, and all of them can speak to the Lands Commission somewhere, they can speak to the DVLA somewhere, they can speak to whichever ministry it is they want to speak in real time. But if you don't do that, and for every paper they have to drive or send somebody on a motorcycle, then, my brother, you are rather creating waste, because you use more fuel, you use more man hours to deliver things. And so if you are using the dispersed model, you must have satellite links. They must be able to communicate effectively between each other. But look at it, you go to somewhere like Chereponi, the telecommunications network is not working properly. And you go and throw, I don't know whether it's Ministry of Agric or something there. Yagba is, look where Yagba is. And then you go and put Ministry of Agric there, you put something in Chereponi, you put something somewhere. And so even if there's no telecom, they cannot effectively communicate with each other. And so if that's the model that has been adopted, then we need to put in a system so that they can speak to each other in real time and advance government business. Imam too spoke very well. He spoke about poverty. Poverty is the unifying factor in the north here. You can't tell a poor Mamprusi from a poor Gonja. You can't tell a poor Gonja from a poor Frafra. You can't tell a poor Frafra from a poor Kusasi. Poverty unites them. We're united in our poverty. And so we are one and the same people. And so we have more reason to come together than even any other part of the country. And so let's work together to drive away poverty. Poverty is our real enemy, not ourselves. And so there's no reason why we should be in conflict with each other. And the thing is, if we build wealth, then we stop fighting. Because a rich man doesn't like war. He doesn't want to run away and leave his house. If there's war and everybody has to run, he has a nice house. Me, my mad house, if you come and burn it, you haven't done anything. I'll just come, clean the ash, I'll go cut grass again, come and put it on it. But you, if they burn your bungalow, you would have lost far more than me. And so if we make more people wealthy, there will be no fighting. And that's what we should work to do. And we want to work to do that. We know that our people here are farmers. So we're going to set up what I call farmer service centers. And we're going to bring mechanization support to the farmers. And so we'll have the tractors there, we'll have the harrows, the plows, the combine harvesters, the power tillers, all the equipment that you need. And we'll register all the farmers in the district. And once you are registered under the Farmer Service Center, every farming season, whatever service you need, the Farmer Service Center will come and provide it for you. So they will be the supplier of your seed. They will be the supplier of your fertilizer. They will offer you plowing services. When your food is ready, you need a combine harvester, they'll bring a combine harvester and harvest for you. If you do it on credit, when you sell, you should come and pay the debt. Otherwise, the next season, you won't get that support. But if you have money, you pay for it. And when you sell whatever you've farmed, the money comes to you, and you go and buy your motorcycle or your Motor King or your flat screen TV, whatever you want to do with your money. I remember when your chairman, Tanko, was the Hajj committee chairman. There was one of the years they came and they said, President, we have worked the calculation. They normally go to Mecca and then find the accommodation. They calculate the cost of the accommodation, the airfare, and all the other things. And they said, President, this year we have to increase the Hajj fare. I said, what? Increase the Hajj fare? Already people are struggling to pay. You want to increase the Hajj fare? I said, no, you won't add a penny to it. Go and work your figures again. They went and worked it. They said, no, it's still difficult. And they said, because of the foreign exchange. I said, oh, is that all? He said, yes. I took the phone, I called the governor. And I said, Governor, can you give us a preferential rate for Hajj travelers? He said, oh, where were they going to change it? They were going to change it on the Forex Bureau. So he said, so, okay, I'll give them the interbank rate. And so he gave us a lower dollar rate. And because he gave us a lower dollar rate, we maintained the same 11,900 for that year for Hajj. So when we come, we'll look at the cost build-up again and see how government can work to bring it down. Because it's one of the pillars of Islam. And the Quran says that if you are capable, you must perform the Hajj. And so we will see how we can bring it down so that everybody can participate and be able to achieve that pillar of Islam. Arabic instructors. We are not training enough Arabic instructors, even though we were the ones who worked for Arabic to be accepted as an examinable subject. And so many of our children are choosing Arabic as a subject. But they choose it, and they have nobody to teach them. And so what we did was we said, look, some of our imams can read and write in Arabic. Why don't we employ them to teach the students while we are training instructors in Arabic? And that's why we brought that system where some of our imams and others who are literate in reading and writing Arabic, we employ them to train the children. And so we'll do that again so that the children can get Arabic instructors, imams who can read and write in Arabic. We will engage them to teach their children Arabic. We will decentralize recruitment. And so recruitment into the security services, we would decentralize it, and so we will come to the regions and employ from the regions so that everybody has the chance to be employed in the security services. Instead of just letting all of you come to Accra, we will come here to Northeast and we'll come with a recruitment team to recruit people from the Northeast. Because if we do that, we'll get a balance of people from all over the country to be able to come and serve in our security forces so that you all will get the chance. I was saying in Bunkpurugu today, they said English and maths is a problem. I said English and maths shouldn't be a problem because it's not the only way you enter the army or the security services. You can enter as a tradesman. And so if you're a driver, a good driver, you can enter the army, you can enter the police service, you can enter immigration. If you're a carpenter, you can enter immigration, fire service, any of them. And so I'm saying that we'll encourage our young people to practice a vocation. And once you get an NVTI certificate, that shows that you are a qualified welder or carpenter or mason or driver, you can go and be recruited into the security services. And so we'll encourage all of you. We'll open vocational training centers so that you can get an NVTI certificate and use that to go into the armed forces or whichever force you want. It's been determined that there's limestone here. And so I know that a feasibility study is being done. We discovered limestone in Bupe some years back. And today, Diamond Cement have set up a cement factory there. They are exploiting the limestone for cement production. And so they are appraising the quantity of limestone that is available. And we pray that the feasibility study is successful. If it's successful, then it means it can maintain a cement plant here to turn the limestone into cement for sale to the rest of the country. And so as we finish farming, our traditional ruler talked about it. I talked about the farmer service centers. Roads, this region has some of the worst roads in the country. And so roads are going to be a priority for the next government. It is our government that started the Waliwali Nalerigu road. And we're supposed to continue it to Nakpanduri and to Bunkurugu. But it ended after we left office. And so we're going to come and continue it from there to Nakpanduri, so that when you get to Nakpanduri, you can turn left to Boko, or you can turn right onto the Eastern Corridor to Gushegu, Yendi, Bimbila, and to Accra. We said that every new region, in 2020, it was announced in our manifesto, that every new region will have a regional hospital. And so we are repeating that promise again, that if NDC wins, the Northeast will get a regional hospital, so that for every sickness, you don't have to travel all the way to Tamale. You have your own regional hospital here. We also said that every new region must have a public university or the campus of an existing university. So we will fulfill that promise. All the 6 new regions will get a public university or the campus of an existing university in all the 6 regions. And then we also said that for the development of sports, every new region will have a sports stadium so that we can develop sports talents. And so that is that. And then finally, my children, the nurses. I know you've been heavily disappointed by this government. And I tell you not to feel disappointed in yourselves, but to know that you were not the only people who were deceived. The whole of Ghana was deceived. So don't feel sorry at all. They packaged themselves nicely and came with very sweet promises. 1 district, 1 factory, 1 village, 1 dam, $1 million per constituency per year, teacher trainee alawa, nursing trainee alawa. So it's the whole nation that was deceived. But there's one thing that was a hallmark of my administration. I had promised to tell Ghanaians the truth at all times. And so anytime there was a challenge, I told the truth, I took responsibility for it, and I dealt with it. And so I'll tell you the truth all the time. One of the things that countries are doing well, for instance, Philippines. Philippines is training a lot of nurses and caregivers. They're training a lot of health professionals. They're training a lot of seamen. They're training a lot of engineers. And they're training them both for their local economy and for export. And so there are backlogs of nurses here in Ghana. We're going to try and clear the backlog as quickly as we can, so that once your seniors are cleared, you also have a chance when you come to be able to get a job. But we're also going to create an alternative. We're going to sign agreements with countries. Philippines has done it. They've signed agreements with countries. And what we'll do is, for those who are setting, who have not yet been employed, we will send you back to training. We will train you to a certain level. to write a certain exam called the IELTS. And when you pass it, you can go on contract for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, work in a foreign country. You buy your car. You buy your car while you are working. If you want your future husband to join you, he'll come and join you. And when you finish, after the contract expires, you come back, and then you come with more experience. So you come back and join the Ghana Health Service, and you continue working. But in the meantime, we are going to enhance the student loan so that it's able to meet your needs. And then we're going to put you on the student's loan scheme. And we'll give you the money so that you pay for your education. And we will only collect the loan back when you get a job and you are working. And when you get a job and you are working, we will deduct it small, until you finish paying. And so, time is fast spent. I think I will bring it to an end here. I'll thank all of you. This is supposed to have been the last event in the Building Ghana tour. And let me say, it's been the most interesting and most exciting of the events that we have had. And so I want to congratulate the people of the Northeast and thank you very much for the warm welcome you gave us and the very exciting time we have enjoyed. I know that come 7th December 2024, NDC is going to win victory in the election.